Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewind and Reflect, where we believe in the universal truth that there's no such thing as coincidence or mistakes. And we are here to share our life story on that with you. My name is Deb Miller.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Doyle.
Hi, friends. I'm Kristin Dean.
Hello, girls.
How's everybody?
Ah,
I'm a little punchy today.
are you?
Yeah, I am a little punchy. I got up super early to teach a class, and then I had two more classes to teach. I'm tired. And
Oh,
then I walked
good.
the dog.
Yeah, you've
So
and we're just getting back from our from a little getaway. A girls, well, it was a bunch
it
of
wasn't
people
quite just
getting
girls because
away.
there was boys there.
There was boys there, but it was our us three. We got to reconnect and spend some time together, which was really nice and took
We
us out of
went
our
skiing.
comfort
Tell the
zone.
audience we went skiing.
Yes.
We did. We went skiing on Loon Mountain. So the interesting thing, I just laughed because it just reminded me. So last night or Wednesday night, I was at my women's AA meeting, and a friend of mine came in and she's like, "Were you just at Loon Mountain?" And I said, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, my neighbor on the Cape married the guy who owns Loon Mountain."
Oh my God.
And I
That's a
said,
small world.
"Somebody,
Wow.
people own mountains?" Like, I
Yeah.
didn't even know. I
Well,
was
yeah,
like,
who do you think
"What?"
runs it?
Yeah.
I don't know, like a corporation, I figured. I don't know. I just didn't figure one person is an owner of Loon Mountain, but
It's not like ski
Yeah, I
sundown,
think
the little
somebody
teeny
owns
thing.
Sundown. I
Yeah,
think a
they
just one
do.
family
dude.
owns
Yep.
Sundown.
Yep. Exactly.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, because I remember when we were younger and there was like a couple of years where there was no snow, like they were really kind of in a financial world of hurt.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we should look into buying a mountain?
We might.
No, I would buy an island before I bought a fucking mountain.
We can have both. We can have an island and we can have an Epstein
I just think it was
Island.
great that three women who really do not embrace the cold were skiing
Well,
together. Can we
I
just call
embrace
it a
it.
memory?
I
Maybe we'll
love it.
do it once a year. I will do that. I will
Well,
commit to that, but I am not buying a mountain. I'll buy an
I
island. I'll buy a lake.
okay.
I will buy a body of maybe part of a river.
We can buy it, and like I was gonna say, we can buy an island and have all the people that need healing from the Epstein Island to come and utilize our island
Wow.
for healing and for
I would do that.
for good stuff.
And then
Um
just stick me on the mountain. I'll stay in the cold. I like the cold.
okay, Kristen's gonna run them
Mhm.
out. I think we should have both.
Yeah.
So,
But
like, you were good with the cold weather. Like, you would have kept skiing.
Well, so I'll I think I told everybody because when I told folks that we had gone away skiing this past weekend, which by the way was one of the coldest weekends of the season in the Northeast, we timed it perfectly. And thank you. I have several shout outs to give, and I'll give those at the end of this little story. But Kevin, Deb's significant other, got us up, got us out. You know, we were up early and we were on that mountain by 8 o'clock in the morning.
That man is a godsend.
He was
mm,
great. He
I have
was
to
like,
say,
what did
he
we
was
call him?
like
The
Julie
yeoman
McCoy, the
person?
cruise director.
Oh, Julie McCoy.
Julie,
That's what it is.
yeah, he
He
really
is
is.
like, he is the mama duck, and we are following, and he is like, here, 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 here. And then he stops on the mountain, points to the map, like any one of us can read a map.
We did.
He's
We
like,
just
and I'm like,
followed
what
him.
are you pointing at, Kevin? He goes, I know, you guys don't. I go, I love the fact that you keep trying, but none of us, A, are paying attention, or B, have any idea what you're talking.
I'm just like, just go and we'll follow you. That's the best way.
Exactly.
And it's so, and then Kristen, we'll get back to you in 1 second, but like Kevin is a map guy. He is on the maps on his phones. Anytime we're out in wilderness hiking or whatever, and then a map comes up, like he's studying and he's showing me. And it's become a joke with us. Like I'm always like, oh, here comes the map. Like I'll ask him a question like, so is blah 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 near blah blah blah. Well, let's get out the map and I'll show you. It's like it's become
And
Keep it
and
fun.
that mountain map, that ski run map
yeah,
was in tatters.
I
It
know.
was like if you pulled it too taut, it would have ripped.
Yeah, because he's always using the map.
Folding and unfolding, sticking it in his
Oh
pocket. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, he
Thank
is
God though,
just,
because it's funny, like you say, he's always hurting his group of people.
oh
And he
yeah.
always says to me, he's like, you're the one little lamb that just wanders aimlessly through. He's like, I'm the one who's got to
Yeah.
constantly be like shuffled back in because I get distracted by shiny objects. But
Oh
yeah,
my God.
so
He is a guy. He
and he's
is
very patient
just
with me.
going to heaven in a rocket ship, that man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go
So
ahead,
hang on.
Kristen, finish what
You
you were
had your
saying.
pink on, Deb, so we could easily find you up on the pink. I love the pink. But anyway, yeah, no, so we were out early, right? And
Mhm.
by midday, it was Saturday, so it was effing crowded. And what, by like 10:30, gals, the people were on the mountain. And I know, Deb, you had some trepidation about the other skiers, and I get
Mm.
that. I used to be like that too. And then it was 19 degrees, but then it dipped down to 7. The wind started
The
whipping.
wind.
We were off the mountain by like noon, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It was great. It
see
was
you later.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
we
it
had
was
gotten in
good.
enough,
I
and
have to say,
Kevin
I also
stayed.
have to say that we went all the way to the top. That was the first gondola ride I've ever taken in my life.
No
And I was
kidding.
sitting backwards.
You were?
Oh,
Yeah,
ooh.
Oh,
sitting
that
next to
gondola.
Kevin.
Right, that's right. I was thinking of the long thing that came down, but the gondola,
No,
you were sitting
mm-mm,
backwards.
no, like
Yeah.
I've never been on a gondola, and we went all the way to the top. I was so
Mm.
proud of myself.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, there were
Awesome.
a lot of things a lot of things that we faced that were out of our comfort zone on this
Crowds,
trip.
cold,
Yeah.
heights,
Yeah,
slippery.
getting off the ski lift. I mean, that alone is like, if you can handle that, then you're
But
okay.
there's Kevin. All right, ladies,
Get ready.
tips up, scoot forward,
Right
and
hand
he
push you off. Okay, go.
move your poles, grab your poles, push off. Here we go.
Yeah.
Go to the left. Go to the. I'm like, what way are we
He's
going,
so
Kev?
good.
Listen, I gotta take credit for some of that training of him though, because he needed to figure out a way to teach me things in a way that wasn't I wouldn't get too uh freaked out. So he learned to be very patient and like, okay, this is hold this with these hands just like that. Like I'm a
Yeah, like
5-year old,
again.
but I needed that because I can't learn too quickly. My brain just doesn't register like that. So yeah,
Okay, but not every guy would step up to the plate and do
no,
that. So
no
Yeah.
we're
way.
giving him props that he
Absolutely.
did that.
He
So,
did.
just before we get into today's topic, I definite shout out for Kev, right? Yay,
Yeah.
Kev. We love
Hey,
Kev.
Kev.
But there are a couple other people I want to call out, that on this ski trip. First of all, Dave's mother, Michelle, who graciously let us all stay in her lovely home.
Mhm.
Um, Second, to Katie for the best lasagna I've had in like
Oh my God, it was so good.
ever,
And
Mhm.
she
right?
like
I
whipped
think
it up
ever.
in like a
Yeah.
day.
I'm like,
Yeah.
how'd you do that? And she was like, she was telling me things. I'm not going to share it because it could be, but I was like,
It could
what?
be a
That's how
top
you do
secret family
it? Yeah.
recipe. You never
And
know.
then finally, to Tracy, Deb, help me out here, Carlson,
Mhm.
who Deb posted a lovely Facebook post with all the pictures of all the antics, on that
Yeah.
weekend. And Tracy put in the comments, she remembered, Sue, that you had talked about not wearing a helmet. And she put in the
Oh my
comments,
God, yeah.
I'm so happy to see Susan decided to wear her helmet. Hashtag sunny boat. Like, I thought that was fantastic. I just
It
So
love.
was
sweet.
fantastic. And shout out to
So
Tracy.
sweet.
Yes, thank you. I wore a
Thank you
helmet
for
and it wasn't all
listening.
that bad. But secondly, little did I know that the helmet has like ear flaps, so it kept me warm.
Mm.
Fucking hurt too. My ear was like crushed by the end. I'm like,
If
oh,
I had my choice, I would not wear a helmet,
me
but I
too.
did.
Yes.
You did, and we're happy. And Tracy took the time to go do a shout out.
Yes.
She was very happy because clearly that was concerning her, as it should, because it was
Mm.
concerning all of us when you're like, I'm not wearing a helmet. And we're
Okay,
like,
well,
you
I wore
have
the
to.
helmet
And
and
you
I
did
am
great.
saying that the helmet was good.
Yeah,
It
neither one,
served other purposes.
it did. And neither one of you fell. I fell twice. Once both of my skis came off. I think they call that a yard sale or
Oh,
something.
yes. I've never heard that before. That's
Yeah.
I
so
have heard
funny.
that. I've heard yard, yes, I've heard that.
I
I've seen
wasn't
it
hurt
on
or
the water.
anything.
I've actually
Yeah.
seen, I think I've probably had my own yard sale once or twice.
Yeah. That was pretty easy for me to recover from. Of course, Kevin is never too far away, so he watched the whole thing unfold and was able to get me back to on my feet. But the first one, I just kind of like went to stop and I just kind of tipped over. And and that was really difficult because my skis didn't come off, so I had to somehow lift my body, which I did not do at all. Kevin hoisted
Yeah.
me with all of his might to stand me up. And I thought, I don't know what I would have done if somebody wasn't there to hoist me up. But then I was told, no, no, you can take your skis off, and that's easier, or you can just lay there until somebody comes
A
and helps
passerby will
you.
help you. Yes, yes. There are
But
friendly.
there was this one time that I was going down the mountain and there was a snowboarder behind me. And I
Yes.
thought, oh dear God, we're going to end up in the same. I'm like trying to make these
I'm
wide
going
turns
down.
and he's going, and I'm like, I'm going to hit him. And I just looked at him, I go, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. And he just went, I don't know what I'm doing either. And he just kept going. And I thought, oh, okay. Thank God. Thank God. Nothing happened. And there's people that are just as clueless as me out there.
Yes. Yes.
So it all worked out really nicely. It was
Yeah,
great. It
great
was
fun.
great. So it was a good way. It was a good
It
way
was
to
fun.
get out of our comfort zone, which is what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So that got me out of my comfort zone. I am not a cold person. Um,
A
and
cold weather
I
person, you
didn't
mean?
cold weather person.
Yeah.
I'm cold, but no.
No,
I'm not
you
a
don't like
cold
the cold
weather
weather.
person, but I got out of my comfort zone. I'm also not like a, I'm not all that adventuresome, I think, is what it is. So I was really very happy, really happy. It felt so good.
Yeah.
Um, and I've never really been to that part of New Hampshire, so I was happy to have a new adventure. But yeah, when we were, I don't know what, um, well, we have to say this, we nicknamed Kristin, um, what was it, producer or agent or manager? She's a
Uh,
podcast manager because the whole time we were there, we're like, she was like, can we record one? And I started looking at her like, no, we're tired. No, I'm not doing this. And she was like, every other, then she'd sit down and she goes, so like, are we recording today? No. So I think we nicknamed her the manager.
Yeah,
Anyway,
which is fine with me. Somebody needs to
yeah.
take control of this
Yeah,
train.
exactly. Exactly. But so anyway, there was one point that we were sitting around and we were actually talking about the podcast and saying that this would be great to talk about, that we kind of all got out of our comfort zone, little bit, some a little bit more than others. And Deb came from Scotland, so she was in Scotland for a week by herself
mm,
to
mm.
then
Well, I
come
did have a
skiing.
chaperone with me, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, but he missed his flight. So what kind of
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
chaperone is that?
yeah.
Well, he picked, yes, we'll talk about that in a minute, but yeah.
So I was saying to you guys that there are some things. So everybody knows I'm not a goal-oriented person or a New Year's resolution person. However, I really embrace being comfortable with the uncomfortable. So I embraced this weekend and I'm so happy that I did, or this past weekend, because it was so much fun. Um, And there's a couple of things that I have on my list to do that like have always sounded and felt very uncomfortable for me. So this year, I would like to go to the movies by myself. Never
Okay.
done that. And it's very daunting to me. And I don't know why. I don't know why it's dark. Like nobody's going to know I'm there alone and nobody really cares. Right. And I would like to go out to dinner alone.
Okay.
Mm.
Have you
That
never gone out to
feels,
dinner alone, like even sat at a bar and
At a
eat?
bar?
No, never.
no,
Okay.
no, never a bar person. Like
Sit at the
I will
bar.
go
Yeah.
out to dinner and sit at a bar with people
Yeah.
rather
Mhm.
than a table. But no, like even when I was younger, I was never really a bar person. I don't like it. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Okay.
I feel like
Um,
a bar is better. Like if you're going to be alone, it's less like
Yeah.
you look less. I- I've never done
you
it
look
either.
less
So
alone.
you look less alone when you're sitting at a bar,
Right.
right? Than
Yeah. And there's TVs and the bartender makes, I mean, every time I've ever traveled and I've eaten by myself, I'm always at the bar. Always at the bar.
yeah, yeah. That's my
Interesting.
another friend of mine
So
who
I'm gonna
travels
do
a lot
that.
does the
That is a
same.
Okay.
goal. That is a a desire of mine in regards to being uncomfortable. But um, I think for me, I am such a routine person
Mhm.
that just urging myself several times in the year to get out of my routine, whether it's for a day or 2 days or do something unexpected, is very uncomfortable for me. So I would like to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, even like my classes, my workouts, my this, all things are just very routine for me, and it brings me an amazing amount of comfort.
Sure.
So I am proposing here to just do that. Be more open to going away for the weekend or going somewhere unexpectedly or last minute and not getting
Yeah.
and embracing the uncomfortableness of it.
Yeah. That's really good.
That's
We're going to
awesome.
hold you to it. I want to know what the first movie it is that you go to by yourself and what you had for dinner.
Well, I wanted to go in January. I wanted to go see a movie and then I chickened out and now it's on like Prime.
Don't go tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
No. No.
That now that would be a really
Ew.
Woo.
big, yeah, getting
Yeah,
out of your
no, I'm not
comfort zone.
listen. Baby steps. Baby
Yeah.
steps. And so my
That's
mantra
awesome.
for this year is progress, not perfection.
Love it.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you, Kristen? What are you doing what was that? Tell me a little bit about your comfort zone or getting out of your comfort zone, I should say.
So you and I, Sue, are so much alike. When you were talking about, I am such a routine person, and um, I am not very adventuresome. However, um, I think that's maybe why we're good travel mates.
Mm-hmm.
So this
Kristen
is
and I
good.
shared a bedroom,
Yeah, we were
just so
the
everybody
best
knows.
roommates. We like to sleep in the cold. We go to bed early. We like the fan on.
Yeah.
I would fit right in there too.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, so I was thinking when you were talking, but I heard this, I don't know where I heard it, probably just whatever out there in the ether. Always, it's important to always challenge yourself, right?
Hmm.
Like out of your comfort zone, kind of like what we are talking about. And it's funny when we were skiing, I've been skiing for many, many years, and I've never been, I'm not a what do they call it? An adrenaline junkie or a daredevil.
Me
I've
either.
never been like that. Even when I was young and skiing, I never wanted to break anything. So, I'm a strictly blue trail gal. I'm
Mm.
not, or a simple black diamond. I'm not going down anything that's like this. But I remember when I was learning how to ski, and I know I talk about my ex-husband a lot, but he doesn't listen to this. And he was such a huge part of my life that, my growing up life. But I remember when he was teaching me to ski. And Kevin was kind of like this with you, Deb. It was so interesting to see, like, you like to stay on the green trails because they're comfortable, right? Because you know how to do them. But he said, and this is what Ken always used to say to me, Kristen, you can totally do this trail you got to challenge yourself, because if you don't, you're going to stagnate. And, like that was such like, if I apply that to my life, then,
Yeah.
if I think of skiing, like I think of my life, like
Get off the
that
green
was,
trail
I
in
don't stay
life.
on the green trail, like, or the blue trail or whatever, like go down that black diamond, screw the moguls, like whatever. And so I was kind of thinking, I don't have any set thoughts like going out to the movies or going to eat alone, but I did just start a new job. And what I'm seeing in that role, so my former job was a management role. So which means I was kind of an in charge person. I wasn't in charge of people, but I was in charge of cars and what said cars and drivers did. So what that taught me was like, hey, I'm in charge here. Like,
Hmm.
kind of figure it out, Kristin. And people are going to come to me for advice, guidance, whatever, and I got to have that for them and direct them. So now in this new role, I'm the new girl, and I'm kind of like learning from all these people. And it's in the legal department, so there's a shit ton of research that has to be done. And I'm one of those people that's like, like, doesn't somebody have the answer to this? I am so sick and tired of looking around on websites and going to this place and going, like, I'm just going to ask somebody, because I'm not. and and that's part of what I want to say here, but like putting my nose to the grindstone and staying like the course, instead of
Hmm.
just like challenging myself in this
Like
role.
not necessarily taking the easy way out.
Yes, don't go ask someone, Kristin. Why don't you try to figure it out on your own, which I think my former role kind of taught me. But then also, too, not being afraid to get my ass up. I made a friend with someone in the finance department that everyone on my team was kind of like, oh, you're going to go ask her for something? Like, she needs something from us. And that might be, I go, I got this. I'm going to make friends with her. And I did. Like, I'm not, I know these people anyway. I mean, I don't really know this woman, but she's very nice. I need something from her. So I'm going to be kind about it, but like, I'm not afraid to go talk to people and say, hey, I'm new here. Can you help me out? Like asking.
Sure. Right.
But the thing that resonates most for me, you guys, is the always challenge yourself. Oh, get off that green trail, get off that blue trail. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
Yeah.
go down a black diamond every once in a while.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
So in my new
Kristin,
role, I took a new role last year, just about a year ago, and same thing is it was I knew the subject matter well, but the job itself was uncomfortable because I'd never done it before. And it really, it definitely rubbed up against me a lot. Like, oh God, But it felt great to be challenged and learn something new and be uncomfortable and have to pay more attention and all those things rather
Yeah.
than sort of just drifting.
mm.
Right.
What about you, Deb?
Well, first I need to bring something to attention. Kristin, we're gonna have you sit on your hands from now
Oh,
on because you're
yeah.
still thumping away.
I'm sorry. I'm
I
sitting
can't
on my
hear it.
hands.
You can't
Sorry.
hear it? Well,
No, but
maybe
my headphones
Oh,
were doing like I need new headphones.
to
well,
the audience, I'm so sorry. The podcast that came out yesterday, I was like, I'm fucking annoying. I'm sorry, everyone. Like, I'm
it's
sitting
not
on my hands right now.
well, I don't know what it like last time because you're very animated with your
I'm
hands.
too
So I was
animated.
like trying to raise my hand to be like because I'm picking up on it. And I don't think anybody cares, but it's a good yeah, she loves talking with her hands and then she goes, thud,
It's
thud.
annoying. I'm annoyed. Anyway, thank you. Yeah.
Um, so oh my gosh, I lived so much of my life not trying new experiences and not doing things that were out of my comfort zone. I mean, I just was, I don't want to say, I don't know. I just never did that. I was just very comfortable with my routine and knowing what I needed to do at the end of the day when I left work, work was over, and then I could focus on what I needed to get done, with my son and dinner and all of that. And then my meetings and weekends were spent very much just downtime, like doing the things that you couldn't do during the week, running the errands and and doing the laundry and all of that stuff. And then it was like life became just so routine and boring that I just kind of, I don't know, I kind of got used to the quiet. Even when I would travel for work, I used to have to travel a lot for work within the country, but even so, like I would go to my destination, I would go to the meetings that I had to go, and then I'd come back to the hotel room, and then I would fly out. There was no exploring, there was no spending extra time and getting together with people. There was none of that. It was like I was very task oriented. And
Hmm.
it took somebody coming into my life who was the polar opposite of that to really drag me out. And there's been times when um I'm out of my comfort zone a lot. I mean, first of all, this whole skiing thing has been really a challenge for me because I just started skiing three years ago. And we go once a year. So
And you go like out west.
yeah,
Like
we go
that's
to
like real ski.
Colorado. Yeah, exactly. And then, but what was happening was there was a whole group of people that go skiing during this week. Um, and everybody skis and they're gone at 8 in the morning. They come back at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And I was doing my own thing. I would either stay back at the condo and work, or I would explore the little downtown. And again, like Sue was there's literally this one little shuttle bus that goes from the ski resort to Main Street downtown where all the shops are. You get off there and then you shop, you spend your day. I got confused and lost coming back and ended up there's only two ways to go, like east and west, and I ended up going the exact opposite way of where I was supposed to go because
I
I
have a
don't
picture on my phone that Deb sent me of a selfie going like this. Wrong bus. This is
wrong
me
bus.
on the wrong bus.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
funny.
left to my own devices, I have a hard time figuring stuff out. So in the past, it was just safer for me to not
Not
go
go.
anywhere,
I
not
agree with
go.
you. That's
Yeah.
yes.
So now, so what happened was we were going on this week, this 1 week ski thing out in Colorado, and everybody was doing their thing, and I was happily isolated doing my own thing. But that's not really the experience that I necessarily wanted or that the people I was with wanted for me because they're like, you're missing out on this, not only the beautiful scenery of the mountain, but our lunches that we have, and then our, time here and there. And so I gave it a shot. I said, okay. They promised me the skis are shorter. You're going to have an easier time skiing. Okay, fine. And I did it. And, and then I did it again. And so every year I'm doing it more and more. Am I like, oh, I can't wait to hit the slopes and get all hot and sweaty trying to get my boots on and, like not being able to grip things because my mittens are so big and like
Oh, yeah.
forgetting to, I don't know. No, I'm not looking forward to that, but I am part of I'm partaking in an activity that everybody else is doing so I can be part of that. And it's a compromise, it's a compromise. And thank God Kevin is very patient with me. And I know that like I feel bad because I'm like, you could be going those black diamonds and doing the
Hmm.
things, but he's like, no, I want to make sure you get have an experience and get safely to the bottom. Thank you so much, Kev. Right. And when you guys, it was so funny because when we went, he did the map with us, and then you guys went ahead, and I was tired on this run, so it was taking me extra long to come down. And the it was getting very busy on the slopes, and I get super nervous when I hear the swish, swish, swish behind me.
Mhm.
So it was taking me a long time, but we got to the one place where we were all going to kind of meet, but you guys had gone ahead because you had figured out, oh, we just have to go down this slope and we're going to end up where we need to be. And he was so nervous because he's like, where are they? Did they, well, how do we know that they went to the right one? I said, I don't think that they would go unless they were certain that they were going the right
Hmm.
way. And anyways, so when we got to the bottom and we all were back together, he could breathe a sigh of relief
All of
because
his
he
lambs
really
were.
did was like, where did they go? Where did they go? Where did they go? And I'm like,
Yeah, but we also had a discussion about, you know, we all three of us, unbeknownst to each other up until this point, are just kind of conservative.
we're
Like, and so I
conservative,
think
yeah.
what I ended up doing is taking that, I am not an adrenaline junkie either,
Mm,
Kristin. I mean,
mm,
nobody would ever describe me like that. But I think what I ended up doing was hiding behind my conservativeness
Mm,
mm,
and my cautiousness. Because, yeah, like, I mean, who wants to be hurt, right? Doing
yeah.
anything. But so I think what I did is I hid behind that and prevented myself from being adventurous because I think you can be adventurous. I think you can get super uncomfortable and still be conservative.
yeah, I
You know what I'm
agree.
saying? Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's going to change about me.
No, and I think that's a good point, and that's something that I've learned as well. Like, even though I hang around with people who like to do all these crazy things, not crazy, but things that are outside of my wheelhouse,
Hmm.
I can still do them without feeling uh unsafe.
Mm.
I can still do
Right.
things without
Right.
feeling unsafe.
They're
And
not
I,
urging
Just
you
because you're
to.
uncomfortable doesn't mean you're unsafe. Just because
that's
you're
right.
uncomfortable doesn't mean you're being risky. And
That's
there's a
right.
difference. And I think what I know for myself throughout my life, I jumbled all that up into like the same muddy pot and
Yeah.
just ended up like paralyzing myself and did
Right.
not much of
Same.
anything.
Same. Yep.
Yeah.
You
You
go to
know
the
what's funny? My dad, before we left on this trip, my dad's so funny. He's like, "Is there a number where I can call you?" He's so old school still. I go, "Dad, you can just call my cell phone, whatever."
yeah.
He goes, "I'm not going to worry about you. You've always been." Ultimately, my dad was the first person to teach me to ski. I said
Mm,
my ex-husband perfected the craft for me, but helped me perfect the craft. But he said, "I'm not going to worry about you. You've always been a cautious skier."
yeah.
And I'm like,
Hmm.
that's great. That's the way kind of I want to be, like I have one child that's very cautious and the other that's a bit reckless. Like
Mm,
I don't worry as much
Yeah.
about the cautious child. I'm not gonna, but Deb, like your people, you talk about some of the adventuresome things that Kevin and his friends and stuff do. Like, I don't feel like in this situation, at least, that he ever made me feel or ever makes you feel like, come on, like,
mm-mm.
you got to do that. You got to go down this, like he's very
Right.
gently, like, knows you and knows your level and what you can and can't, or what you can and are not comfortable doing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and see, so because of that, because I've have somebody in my life who is adventurous but safe. I have been able to do a lot more. But this trip to Scotland was a huge step out of my comfort zone because I was going into a different country, a very long flight, a time change. Um, an familiar place, and I was and Kevin was not coming with me because he had another trip planned. And so I almost didn't go because I was like, I don't think I can handle, I just can see myself getting very, very like disoriented. And but I did it. I did it. So what ended up happening was because Kevin couldn't go, and the reason I was going was because a friend of mine is directing and filming a movie that she wrote. And she had asked me to go over there to be part of that because one of her next projects, and you heard it here first, is going to be turning One Little Pill into a film. And she's going to be directing it and the whole nine yards. So she wanted me, she's been part of the movie industry for 25 years. She's got all of the people, places, and things in place. She knows what she's doing, but she was like, I need you to be here and really see firsthand what goes on behind the scenes so you can wrap your head around it. So I went over there, and that's exactly what I did. But because she was so busy and she had a crew with her that, doing films is like an exact science, and they're very focused and on task. I was not, I was just going to be there observing. So I was either going to have to rent my own car and get myself to and from the different locations, which were all throughout the area. They drive on the other side of the road, on the other side, in the passenger seat is where the steering wheel is. It's rainy, it's dark, it's cold. I'm not familiar with anything. It was a recipe for disaster if I went on my own. So one of Kevin's good friends who has the ability to travel wherever he wants, whenever he wants, he said, I'm going to go with you and I'll get you to and from wherever you need to go safely. And he did, and it was perfect. He missed his flight. We were supposed to meet in Newark because of the snow and everything that happened.
Yeah.
Sue's falling asleep on us. I'll try
I'm
to,
not. I'm
yeah.
really not. I'm not. I'm really not.
you,
Nope.
you're
You're
resting your
lying.
eyes. So she's heard this story so many times. She's like, all right, get over it. So
No. Stop it.
he missed his flight because of the storm that they had in Connecticut. So getting to Newark was whatever, it was a problem. So I flew out myself and had to take I ended up getting myself to my hotel proper in a good way, paying a lot of money, but for a taxi instead of I opted out of taking the tram, and then you take a bus and then a train and then a taxi. I thought there's no way I'm doing that. So I ended up taking a very expensive taxi ride there. And then my friend Kevin showed up the next day and with a rental car and got me to where I needed to be. I was so out of my comfort zone being alone in a foreign country like that.
Oh my
But
God, yeah.
it all worked out
Never.
great. And so I feel now like I can absolutely, if I had to do it again, I could do it again. Like I could do it by myself. I truly feel that way. I mean, it was a comedy of errors with certain things once I got there, but everything worked out fine, and now I'm back and settled in, and everything has worked itself out. But that was very much out of my comfort zone.
They don't have
Well,
hair
when you were
dryers in
accusing me of
Scotland.
falling asleep, what I was thinking about is, um, so I often equated being responsible as not as being in my, like not being able to get out of my comfort zone. Like that's another thing. And when you were talking, I'm like, you can still be responsible, like a responsible adult and be uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be anything crazy,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you continue to act responsibly, right? But you were really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And the two don't have to butt heads against one another,
Right.
you know? And so it's funny because in yoga, my yoga teacher always says, um, nothing ever grows in your, nothing ever grows in your comfort zone.
Oh, I like
Mm.
that. That's really
You know what I
cool.
mean? And it's true. It's
Yeah.
true. You can die in your comfort zone.
Yeah. I,
Do you
Not
guys?
necessarily physically, but maybe spiritually or emotionally. I
yeah.
mean, listen, I mean, all the self-exploration that the three of us talk about doing is not comfortable,
Hmm.
you know,
No, it's not comfortable at all. It's not comfortable.
really dissecting patterns and thought processes and things that don't serve you.
Something just popped into my head. I remember a couple trips we took, one to Sonoma and one to I mean Sedona, not Sonoma,
New
Sedona,
Hampshire or
Well, there
Arizona?
are
Arizona.
two, those two places both exist though.
Are they both
I
in
know,
So you
Arizona?
said Sonoma and it wasn't like that big of a deal.
I know, but
You could have just
Sedona,
went with it.
okay. Well, we were there and then we were somewhere else. And then, but there
It began with an
twice
S.
we were hiking and twice, two different times, we met young women who were on a trip by themselves, like separate, like,
Wow.
one time, this girl, like she flew in, she rented her own Jeep, she took the Jeep up to the mountain, she hiked the mountain and did it. And she's like, yeah, I just do this all the time by myself. She flew in from New York or whatever,
Wow.
20
Okay, I'm
something
going to
year.
start with a movie and dinner, and then I
Yeah.
will
I
graduate
know.
to
Amen.
a vacation by
A
myself.
yes, exactly. It was vacationing by
That's
yourself.
cool.
And she's just like, yeah, I mean, it's a great way for me to meet people and just to get out and do my thing. And I totally I understand how some people could like that, but I don't think that'll ever be me.
I
And,
don't
and
My
think
it's
daughter
not,
did that. She
yeah,
rented an Airbnb somewhere in the mountains by herself for like a long weekend. She said it was unbelievable.
yeah.
So it was a great experience.
I don't know. I feel like I'd be a little lonely.
yeah, I'd be bored or do you guys think that so I'm not recommending this for the audience, but for me,
Do we all have to sign
divorce,
a waiver here?
my divorce
Yeah.
really got me out of my comfort zone, right? Because I had little kids. It was me, myself, and I. I mean, I had to learn like traditional relationships, the man handles this, the woman handle, like whatever. It was
Mm-hmm.
like all me now,
Mm,
and that's not to say, I had help with my children. My ex-husband, we shared custody of the children, but like I had a house, I had a job, I had to shovel my own driveway, to mow my own lawn, like all that stuff. I do it now, but I've been doing it for 20 years. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's my thing. Like, it's my, like, but initially that was like, oh, wow, I'm doing this all by myself. Do you think that that contributed at all for either of you, like feeling outside of your comfort zone?
I feel
Or,
definitely. I
Yeah, yeah. But I look back at it this way, that, if the three of us had stayed, it would have been more damaging to stay in the comforts, emotionally damaging to stay in that comfort zone. So the discomfort that bumped up against me to
yeah.
do that and to take that leap of faith, um, it was so valuable.
I think
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people stay in bad marriages because
It's
it's the devil.
comfortable.
It's the devil they know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
they
the
don't,
devil they
Oh,
know.
they're not embracing. I think what it is too is people equate getting out of your comfort zone as something negative. And it
Yes.
actually
Oh my
doesn't
God.
have to be that. It might be, but the majority of the time it's not.
I
Mhm.
Or it
always used to
might,
second guess myself.
like you're feeling that feeling automatically goes to the negative.
Yes. That's
I
why I
think
used to
that's what,
second guess myself. Like I would
yeah,
be like, oh, Deb knows, like back and forth and back and forth. Oh my God. But you're right, Sue.
right.
It's like that's the feeling of like, hey, sit with it. Sit with it for a minute. If you're doing the next right thing, everything's okay, you
And
know?
even if you're not doing the next right thing, something else is going to come along and
Exactly.
steer you to that right thing. But if you
Exactly.
didn't take that first step and get uncomfortable and be a little um um
Brave. I don't know.
the friction. I guess the only thing I can
Yeah.
say is it creates some friction,
Yeah.
right? Internally, this friction of um I think of it as like sandpaper, you know what I mean? It just kind of
Mm,
it's irritating to you for some reason and you don't really know why. And a lot of people don't want to feel that to
no.
get to
Right.
over, to get to the other thing or to get down the road. And to me, there's no path that is worth traveling without coming into contact with some pieces of sandpaper,
Yeah. Love that. Perfect.
Mm.
you know?
I feel like I don't enter into uncomfortable situations and or out of my comfort zone unless I am guided there comfortably or I'm forced there. Like I
Let
don't,
go or be dragged.
yeah, exactly. Like I don't just say, you know what? I don't like doing XYZ, so I'm gonna make a point of doing XYZ just so I can get used to it or get, but no, I'm
No, but you also are open to somebody making a suggestion and you hop on the suggestion. It doesn't necessarily have to be your idea. Doesn't
yeah.
have to be your doing, but you're open to the possibility if somebody presents it to you, it's the same thing. You
Yeah.
Trust
could
God.
very easily dig your heels in and say, no fucking way. I am not
Mm.
doing that. And you're sitting there, and you're not budging. But you
No,
don't
I'm
do
not
that.
stubborn like that. I
Exactly.
always feel
So,
like if the people that are giving me advice or guidance, I trust enough to know that 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 what they're suggesting is something that is a it's going to better me. It's going to make me a better person or whatever. Um, but it's not easy. It's getting out of your comfort zone is not easy, but I don't want to live a life where things are easy all the time because then you don't grow.
Yeah.
You don't grow,
I
you don't
agree.
learn.
It's bad for your brain.
Yeah,
I'm
you
getting
don't
Yeah.
older
learn. That's
now,
great. You don't learn.
right?
You end up just, I don't know who I was talking to the other day, but what you end up doing is living the same day
Yeah.
Yeah.
every single day over and over again.
I
And I
did that for a
remember my
long
yoga
time.
teacher saying a long time ago, and I'm going to butcher this, but he said something like, you know, you end up living the same day over and over and over again and calling it a life. And that's not a life, that's just an existence.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, I lived that existence for a long time.
Yeah, sure.
I did.
Right.
Or I
And
think of
for
my
whatever
mother
reason,
who,
it doesn't matter how you got out of your comfort zone, whether it was a suggestion from somebody else or you're following somebody else's lead, you did it.
Hmm. Or you're forced to leave a job that you've been with for many years, or you take a chance at something else that doesn't work out. It's like, yeah, you did it. What were you going to
Right.
say, Kristen? Something about your mom?
I just think of my mom whose world got so small because she was afraid of everything and
Yeah.
relied so heavily on my dad. And I was like, I would just look at her and go, that is what I don't want. Right. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember her calling me brave, maybe 20 or so years ago. Um, because I was the opposite of her, of what she, and she could have done it, but she chose to stagnate. She chose not to,
Yeah.
step out of her comfort zone. At some
Yeah.
point, she made that decision to just do nothing. So, whatever. I don't.
I also think this just landed in me too. Like when you decide to start your life in recovery,
Mm,
one of the bravest things that you do is you walk into a room full of people that you don't know, and you're very vulnerable and you're feeling a lot of shame and guilt, and you have to walk in, and you usually walk in by yourself. I did anyways because I didn't know anybody else, in the program. And you have to you have to say, basically, this is who I am and I have a problem and I need help. And that is like one of the hardest things to do. But
Yeah.
I
I'm
think,
sure it's much more emotionally comfortable to just stay in your
yeah,
addiction.
stay in your addiction or not, or stop the substance use, but not go into the fellowship, for the
Hmm.
support. But I think because of that, that makes it easy for me to just plop in a seat at a bar and order food and talk to people that I don't know, or,
Right.
go to a movie by myself. I don't care because I go to meetings all the time by myself, and new places and new cities and new areas, wherever I am where I feel like I need some help, I'll do that.
Hmm.
So I think that that has helped me to be more comfortable on my own in a lot of different ways.
Agree.
Yeah.
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 So, well, maybe this sparks some thoughts in our audience of stepping out of your comfort zone and not being afraid to do so. Because we got this one life, we
Hit
might
the
as well live it
slopes.
to the
Yeah.
fullest, right?
Right.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to, it doesn't always have to involve physically being uncomfortable. I think it's more, you know, I prefer to do things like that, but um yeah, I mean, I think every day you got to get a little uncomfortable, a little
Yeah.
gritty.
Hmm.
Like I could never do what you do and get in front of a group of people and have them follow you because they know you have what they want, and you know how to safely show them how to improve their body, their mind, and their soul. I mean, that to me is a lot of
That's
pressure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I have to say
I
that, I
love
mean,
that.
every day, majority of the time that I teach still to this day, I get a little stir in my stomach.
Yeah, I
That's
bet you
Like it's
would.
awesome.
sometimes it's uncomfortable, it gets
Because they're all
uncomfortable.
looking at you. I know when I'm in a yoga class, which I haven't been in a long time, but it's like I am looking at the yoga t instructor, like following every single move, and so that's a lot of
Hmm.
pressure. But so
I
I
think
promise
me and
you,
the new kid, all because we moved around so much. Like,
Oh, yeah, that's
again,
great.
I don't know if I've ever talked about this. I moved some furniture in my house because it's all torn apart with this kitchen stuff. And I found my old report cards, and it talks about how painfully shy I was in
oh,
kindergarten, first grade.
Oh,
And by the time I had moved, we moved like crazy people from the time I was in fourth grade to seventh grade. So by the time I was in sixth grade, I had been in, I don't know how many different schools, whatever. Um, by the time I was in sixth grade, my teachers were saying Kristin is disruptive. She socializes too much. She's the class clown, blah, 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 blah. That was me getting out of my comfort zone as a
yeah.
kidlet. And it had a what I think is a positive effect on me because
But that was also a forced
it was forced.
push out of
Yep.
the
right.
comfort zone. Like it
Yep.
wasn't your idea, correct? So
Nope.
it's parallel to what Deb was saying. It was a forced push over that line of comfort, right?
Yep.
And then what you did is you rose to the occasion. You said, okay, instead of running in the other direction, I'm just going to bump up against this and see what's there for me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And get in all kinds of trouble in class, but
Yeah.
whatever. It was fun. Anyway,
Oh, well,
All right,
yes.
friends.
great
I
chat.
hope it really
Now,
sparks others to be a little more adventurous, and it's okay to be responsible and conservative and cautious and still be uncomfortable, I think
Right.
is really the bottom line.
That's right. Try new things.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right, my loves.
All right,
Namaste to
everybody.
everybody. We'll see you next week.
Love you.
Take care.